Good evening. My name is Robert Bodie, better known as Bob, Chairman of the Conservation Commission, and I'm calling this public meeting to order at 7 p.m. In accordance with the Commonwealth of Massachusetts Executive Order of March 12, 2020, suspending certain provisions of the open meeting law, we are conducting this meeting virtually via Zoom. To ensure public access to the meeting's deliberations, the public will be able to access remotely via Zoom, video conferencing, or by telephone, or they can watch it on Foxboro Cable Access TV. All remote participants' video screens will be turned off except for any commissioners attending remotely. The agent and the current applicant screen sharing will not be permitted unless absolutely necessary. Following the applicant's presentation and questions from the commission, members of the public will have an opportunity to ask questions and provide comments. If you would like to speak, please raise your hand, then identify yourself by stating your name and address for the record. If you're participating by phone, you can raise your hand by dialing *9. All votes will be taken by roll call. After the commission has acted on an application, the applicant will be free to leave the meeting. In the event of any technical difficulties, all matters on the agenda that have not been heard will be automatically continued to the Conservation Commission's next meeting on January 25th. At this time, I'd like the commissioners to introduce themselves. Let's start with Peter.
Peter Tanisoff.
David Opatko.
Jim Marsh.
And who do we have zooming in?
Judy Johnson.
Whoops. Knew that was going to happen. And Rich Galemi.
Okay, thank you. That technical business is out. Do we have any public comments? If not, do we have the file for Ridge Road? The reading? Peter, you want to read it while you got it there?
Sure. Put me on the spot. Pursuant to Mass General Laws, Chapter 131, S40, Wetlands Protection Act, and Foxborough's Wetlands Protection Bylaw, Chapter 267, the Conservation Commission will open a public meeting on Monday, January 11, 2021 at 7:05 p.m. in the Gala Meeting Room, Foxborough Town Hall, 40 South Street, on a request for determination of applicability filed by Michael Trowbridge for the installation of a new septic system and grading at 92 Ridge Road, Assessor's Map 034, Parcel 012, in Foxborough, within 100 feet of a wetland resource area. The application is available for public inspection in the Conservation Office at the Town Hall, Monday through Thursday, 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. This notice can also be found on Massachusetts Newspaper Publishers Association website, MNPA, at www.masspublicnotices.org, all one word.
Thank you. Mr. Trowbridge.
Good evening. For the record, Michael Trowbridge, Hutchin Trowbridge Associates. Happy New Year to everyone. I'm representing this evening Dykes, 92 Ridge Road. We're proposing to repair an existing septic system. And what the schematics that you have, as you see, the Ponce reservoirs in blue, the dwelling and the shed are in brown. We have a yellow line which indicates the silt sock which we're proposing. The system itself is going to be 55 feet to the reservoir. This is going to be a gravity septic system. This is not an alternative system, not a pump system either. So we have the siltation control as well as a poly barrier, 4 mil poly barrier that's indicated on the plan. There's going to be minimal grading that's going to be done. The grade that's pretty much there now will be pretty much the grade will be the final grade. It's a relatively flat area where the septic system is going. Right now, currently in that area, there's an existing septic tank and a distribution box. We don't know the extent of the septic system. There was no as-built other than the existing tank and the distribution box, but the system, I do know for a fact that the system that we're proposing is going to be further away from the wetland than what's currently there. This system has been approved by the Board of Health, but it's just subject to approval by the by the Conservation.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Just out of curiosity, is that, you're putting in a new tank?
Brand new
Is it a
tank.
a single chamber or a double
It'll
chamber?
be a single chamber, 1,500-gallon tank.
Okay. Now, what's the advantage or disadvantage of a two-chamber?
Two compartment is usually only required if you have a garbage disposal or if it's something other than a single-family house.
Okay. Any questions from the board?
No.
None?
Judy? Any questions?
The only thing, I actually went up there today. I noticed there were a couple of trees cut down. Is that where it's going? Is that where the system is going in?
No, that is not where there's actually, if you look at the plan, there is the two tree stumps that you're referring to, that's shown on the plan,
Yep.
and that is not the
Oh, I don't
area
have-
of the septic.
What was that again? I'm sorry.
That is not the area of the septic.
Okay.
The area of the septic
So-
will be to the side of the house, actually running along Ridge Road.
Okay. All right. Yeah, it looks like the trees had been cut down recently. I don't remember hearing about that, so I was curious.
I don't know the answer to that. They were cut when we did the perk test.
Okay. Did you hear his comment? The trees were cut before
Yes.
they did the,
Yeah.
okay. All right. Anything else then, Judy?
Nope.
Rich?
Were they cut with permission, or
What's that?
were the trees cut with permission, given they're so close to the water?
I don't know if we knew anything about it. Did you know? Okay.
Yeah.
We knew nothing.
The applicant realize, does the applicant know that they need the permission to cut trees within that close to the water?
Have-
I'm actually the applicant, and I am aware of that law, but I have no idea how long before we got there that these trees were cut.
Oh, you didn't do them? You didn't cut them?
No, that's correct. We did not cut them.
Oh, okay, okay.
No. No, when we showed up to the day of the perk test, those trees were long gone.
Oh, okay. That's it.
Might be something you want to just mention to the dikes, you know?
I'm sorry, can you repeat
Might be
that?
something you just want to mention to the dikes.
Yeah, I'll mention to the
Owner of
owner.
the
This,
property.
this is in the middle of a sale, actually, right now.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
Okay. Are they're the seller?
I'm representing the seller.
And the dikes are the seller? Or the?
Yes,
Okay.
the dikes of the seller.
So the new owners should be notified that
Oh,
they're not, that there's a 25-foot notice stir, but not sure what condition it's in.
I've never
there.
met the buyer. I don't even
Okay.
know who the buyer is. I usually just meet with the sellers.
Yeah, I wish I had my little brochure to give you.
I can make sure
It's
that
online.
I can make sure that they get a copy of I can make sure the owner gets the determination, and if you want to put any wording in
Oh,
there
there you
about
go.
that way I know it's definitely been sent, because I am the applicant, so,
Okay, sounds good.
thank you.
Or perhaps they could just give Jane, let Jane know, give her an explanation of why the trees were cut down, because they were pretty good-sized trees. And just so we have that in the record, I mean, at this point, it's hindsight.
Yeah, I can absolutely have the owner contact Jane and let her know what the circumstances were. Yeah, they were very substantial trees. These are 48-inch stumps that are there.
Wow.
Yeah.
48?
Yeah.
Yep.
Sorry,
Wow.
conservation, you can have it on TV if you're interested. We haven't started yet, but we're next.
Somebody else.
Me?
Someone's not muted?
That's all I have.
Okay, thank you, Judy.
That's all I have.
Okay, thank you, Judy.
Okay, we're getting
We got an
feedback. But as always, a new system is an improvement over the old system, so.
As always.
If there's nothing else, no comments from the audience, want to close this? And somebody will make a motion for a negative determination?
Put these people's names.
Don't everybody speak at once?
I'll make a motion for a negative determination.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay.
Judy?
Tell me, maybe, I'm not really following.
I got a lot of feedback here. I'm hearing other people talking and. I don't know
Okay,
what's
we just made
going
a
on.
motion and seconded for a negative determination.
All right.
Okay,
How do you get it across though?
Does this go with it? or no?
okay. You all set now, Judy?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, Judy, you should probably mute yourself. Okay, I think she did.
all right.
'Cause it's-
No,
that's-
I'm not saying any, there's like a big echo in here or something. No, I'm not saying anything.
It's the one that doesn't have the screen on.
It's the feedback. Why don't you mute yourself?
It's not
No,
her.
Oh, it's not her, it's that one, the one without the picture.
Oh,
You are yellow now?
who's the mystery?
They're calling in.
Oh, who's on the phone?
I'll see if I can kill it.
Okay,
Yeah,
thank you.
Get rid of them, please.
Unless they have something to say.
Can't mute a phone, huh?
Maybe not.
What else?
Somebody named Tom.
Would
There you
it,
go, they're gone.
Tom has been muted.
Okay,
Okay, good.
thank you.
that might be Tom McHugh.
Okay, are you all set now, Judy?
Yeah, I don't hear all the chatter of other people talking now.
Tell us if they say anything good.
Well, I won't say what they were saying right now.
Uh-oh.
Okay.
All right. But I heard a lot.
So did you, okay, the negative determination, Judy, did you get your vote in?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
I didn't, but I am now.
Okay, thank you.
I was pretty distracted.
Interesting. All right.
All right,
Thank you very much.
thank you.
Thanks.
Send that over to me, I'll make sure.
Okay. She's the one that does the sending.
Okay,
See you later.
here, I just put it up here. Okay, we have another RFD for 54 Ridge Road.
Want me to read it?
Sure.
Pursuant to Mass General Laws, Chapter 131, Section 40, Wetlands Protection Act, and Foxborough's Wetlands Protection Bylaw, Chapter 267, the Conservation Commission will open a public meeting on Monday, January 11th, 2021 at 7:10 in the Gala Meeting Room, Foxborough Town Hall, 40 South Street, on a request for determination of applicability filed by Northeast Foundation Repair for the installation of a helical pile tiebacks to stabilize the existing lakefront wall at 54 Ridge Road in Foxborough, within 100 feet of a wetland resource area, the Ponce Reservoir. The application is available for public inspection. That's kind of gone behind the boards. Notice can be found on Massachusetts Newspaper Publishers Association website at http://www.masspublicnotices.org.
Thank you. Do we have a representative?
I think the fellow who was just muted, Tom, maybe. Oh, there is a rep. Oh, good, he's waving.
Oh, okay. You're on, sir. Your name for the record, please? Oops, I lost you.
There we go. Can you hear me, folks?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, my name is Anthony Capel, and I'm here in regards to 54 Ridge Road, Foxborough, Massachusetts.
Okay.
Um,
And
Brief synopsis of the project. We'd like to stabilize the wall with helical piles on the landward side of the wall, staying effectively away from the water side of the wall. And we'll be placing a steel angle on the top of the wall with a tieback. All of the work will be performed on the land side. It'll be minimal in nature, and we would naturally put up the required precautions based upon the recommendations of the conservation, such as silt fence, swaddle, etc. Does anybody have any questions, though? Because I know that it's not a typical scenario.
What's the construction of the wall at the present time?
The existing wall, to my understanding, we didn't construct it, but it's concrete, approximately 8 inches in diameter, approximately 4 inches tall. 4 feet tall.
Okay. All right. I wasn't sure if it was concrete block or solid concrete. That was my main question. Thank you.
I have a quick question.
Yeah.
I was just reading the details in your project scope, and it says,
Okay.
if damage occurs, adjustment will not continue. And that's number 7, and the number 8 says, once wall adjustment is completed or stopped.
That's
Please,
describing
details.
installing the angle itself, and what that means is that if, when we're installing the angle, if any damage to that wall occurs, we would obviously stop and assess that. We would call the structural engineer as well as any other parties that were required to be called and notified. And what I mean is, if the wall was to, say, flake, chip apart, break, etc.
What percentage of the time does this sort of thing happen with this type of wall? Is there anything you could give us?
Well, with retaining walls all the time, retaining walls in an environmentally sensitive area, this would be probably the second time I've ever seen this. Typically, you'd remove and replace, but that would be extremely cost prohibitive, and it would be extremely adversarial to the environment. So that's why we chose this way to remediate the wall and leave it in place versus something that was a little bit more aggressive.
No, I think it sounds like a great idea, and I did meet with the homeowner about a year or two ago when he was in the planning process. My only concern, of course, is if the wall did break or if it was breached or something like that, then I sort of would like to hear what you would be doing in that kind of
Well,
case.
in that case, I would bring a structural engineer in, and the top cap of the wall would be really the area that we'd be most concerned with, which is weathered the most, because we're going to put a slot reglet in it for the pile to rest in, and then the angle would go and cap that wall. In that process, we're talking about a 2-inch deep by 2-inch wide, 8-inch long slot. The damage is minimal that would happen to that, but a corner of that could fall off. I don't believe in any way, shape, or form that the wall would simply break in half, if that's your concern. We wouldn't be doing anything aggressive to it that would cause that. It would be all work by hand. I don't know if that's helpful. But.
No, fair enough. I think you probably need to contact the Conservation Office immediately if something happens, and I think I love to use this as a poster child, so if it's successful, I think it'd be a great thing to do. But if it does break and silt gets into the reservoir or whatever, you'd have an enforcement order, and neither you nor I want one. So you just have to be
Any
careful
of the
that
work
doesn't
that we
happen.
would do with cutting or notching, we would use vacuums at that time as well. So in the case of pieces falling and spalling, I can't guarantee you that a large chunk would be captured immediately, but the smaller debris like dust would be captured.
It's the smaller stuff that's more concerning. Thank you.
Are you pulling the wall back towards the land, or are you just stabilizing?
Inherently, by installing the tieback, there is a possibility when we tighten it that it might do that, but that is not the intention to right the entire wall, no. meaning when we tighten up the nut, if the wall is loose behind it and soil is, it could suck the wall back in per se, but the intention is not to load the wall statically and pull it backwards.
One question, in your proposal, you have a number 8. Once the wall adjustment is completed or stopped, place stone with filter fabric to assist in wall drainage and stability, but you don't show that on your plan that you submitted. Are you gonna be doing
It would
that?
run along any of the area that we would be disturbing from excavating to put the tie back in.
So basically, you're gonna drill a hole through the wall, the existing concrete, and then
Well,
by hand, and then,
we would slot the top of it. We wouldn't even drill it.
oh, okay. That's why you got that plate on the top.
Yep, I know he does show an 8-inch core hole, but he did submit a paper after the fact, which also said that in the case of the concrete being degraded, rather than core drill, we would be able to slot it.
Do you know if the concrete's been degraded at all? Have you looked at it?
I looked at it, but not in every single area and location that we'd be installing the product. We sampled it as well as the structural engineer did. I would suggest to you that we would do it on a case-by-case basis. That's where we came up with an alternate in case we needed it in lieu of.
Well, the water is low now. Good time.
Good time to work on it. That's another question. Are you going to start right away, or is that your intention?
I would schedule it planned upon approval or the recommendations of the committee.
Good. Any other question? Rich, any other questions for you?
I guess I'm a little confused. You're not going to drill through the concrete?
No, that was the original plan, but we're going to V-cut it in a sense.
Oh,
We're going to
oh,
actually
oh, oh.
cut it. Because
I got you.
the way that the attachment happens to the angle, it's so far up on the corner of the angle, it would be too far up to actually core drill through. So I had a conversation with the engineer after he went out on site to check all of his assumptions, and he was willing to allow us to so to speak, V it instead, which I think would be much better than trying to core an 8-inch core drill through it. It would be literally like a 2-inch by 2-inch by 8-inch long reglet.
Oops. Okay, that's good. I didn't understand it from the picture, but so you're just cutting a wedge in it and then sliding the bolt down.
Yes. Now I can have him produce a second submittal if you'd like, and we can forward that to you.
I'm okay with.
Yeah.
It'd be a good idea.
That
Like
would
I
be a
said,
good
you
idea,
might be
just
our,
to keep it on the record.
you might be our poster child.
Yep.
All right.
Could you provide us with a registered land surveyor stamp on these topographic plans? I notice there's none there.
Well, the original plan that we used in reference was provided by the client, Tom, and that is a licensed registered survey plan. That was what we used for the location plan of the installation of the product. That plan is not certified. Our plan is not certified by a surveyor, but it was based upon the existing conditions plan provided to us by Tom. If we have to have a surveyor recertify the plan, we can do that. It just would take a bit.
Do you think it's necessary, or get a copy of the original from Tom?
I'm sure Tom can provide an original copy.
Just for the records, I think just keep all the Ts crossed, Is dotted. If we could get a copy for him.
So the original copy of his surveyed plan signed
sur-
by a
this-
registered land surveyor,
Yeah,
Correct.
stamp. Yeah.
signed and stamped.
Yeah.
Now, you want that with my work on it or a original copy from Tom of the survey plan?
I think we can probably piece the two of them together.
Okay, okay.
Any other question? Judy? You all set?
No questions.
Okay. Jim?
All set.
All set.
Peter?
All set.
David, anything else? Nope. All right, thank you. Someone want to make a motion?
Can I add a couple of conditions
Sure.
to that motion?
Okay.
Negative determination with a motion that, with adding a condition that if any breach occurs, to call, if any,
ASAP.
yeah, if any breach, any crack occurs that might destabilize the upland soils, to contact me ASAP.
Okay,
And I can't think of anything else. Because you know that, I don't remember his name. You know that if if silt gets into the reservoir, that's an enforceable act, I guess you'd say, alteration. So just be super careful that it doesn't happen.
Are you suggesting, by the way, swaddle or silt fence or both?
If you're working just from the side that has, it would be a good idea to have a supply of it, just in case, like an emergency supply of siltation controls. But if you are working only on the upland side of this wall, which looks pretty stable, but, you know, it obviously is not stable enough, I think you should use your best,
yeah, I
best,
mean,
you know, you've done it before.
Yeah.
So what do you think, guys?
I think, well, unless it's breached, there's nothing nothing can get into the reservoir, so.
Right. If it looks like something might be trying to get into the reservoir, then if you had a supply handy, you could throw it down in theory. And no
Good.
dewatering? You won't be dewatering, will you?
No.
Okay, so that should be another condition, no dewatering.
Yeah. Okay. So would someone like to make a recommendation, a negative determination with the
Yeah, I'll
conditions?
make a motion for a negative determination with those conditions.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All right.
I,
All right,
So moved. Thank you. Thank you very much. Looking forward
Very
to
good, folks. Thank you.
looking forward to it and see what the results are.
We'll be in touch. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Okay. Being 7:15, we have a continuation of file number 157601, construction of a single-family home and driveway on South Street. Mr. Lucas, are you in?
Good evening. Hope everyone had a nice new year.
Different,
You too, bud.
and you as well.
Thank you. I'll just provide a brief update from the last hearing. And would it be possible to share my screen again?
Yep.
Is that
Uh,
great?
Wait a minute. Get the technical difficulties here, and yep, there you go.
Is it great? Okay. So this was the latest and greatest plan we submitted to the commission prior to the new year. And in this plan, we've made several changes. One being we've reduced the deck. It's down to a 12 by 16, which works with the aesthetics of the house and how it ties into the first floor and the kitchen. We were able to provide an additional 4 feet separation from the no activity zone. The limit of lawn still remains the same for construction activities through the area, but we were able to reduce that to provide a little more separation with the structure. That we have a total house footprint of 1,040 square feet plus the garage of 624 for a total of 1,664 square feet. The overall impervious in the lot has been reduced to 3,057 square feet, and the total disturbance is just under 11,000 square feet for the lot. We added 11 do not disturb signs, these little black dots here, which we have a little detail on here to put in the post and then have a sign on the top of that flat so anybody can clearly read it. We've hatched out the mitigation area, which is this pattern right here. So it generally follows the area between the 25-foot no activity and the proposed limit of work and lawn. We've provided a detailed riverfront area specification sheet, which was attached. I don't need to get into details, but it goes through the shrub plantings proposed there, removal of invasives in the area, how it should be done so that specification can be handed to the landscaper or the contractor to improve this area as discussed at the last hearing. And we have a total of roughly 3,060 square feet. I believe it's exactly 3,059 square feet of mitigation in the riverfront here. Those are the proposed changes. I believe there was a comment at the last hearing about relocating this. I think that was overlooked on our part for the hearing. I did speak with Mr. Spink and Mr. Innes. If the commission really does feel strongly about relocating this leaching bed, we can move it here. It's really not going to change anything because of the clearance we need around the building to construct it, but we could move it if the commission does deem that necessary. Those are the last remaining items that we were aware of. I've been working with Ms. Pierce regarding some calculations and trying to make sure we have all the correct numbers. I believe we're just about wrapped up on that. If there's any other changes, I think they're pretty minor, but I think, Jane, Ms. Pierce, I believe we've addressed most of that. Mr. Spink's here this evening if there's any other questions on that. Otherwise, I'll open it up to the board for questions or comments.
My first question, Chris, is this one lot or two lots? Now, this plan I'm looking at that came in on December 24th basically shows one lot. And there's been some question from the building department whether this is one lot or two lots. And I know I've seen some plans showing a line making it looking like it's two separate lots. So I guess that's the first question. Is this, quote, one or two lots?
So, John, I think you can help me answer this one, but my understanding was the assessor shows two lots, one going, basically they're almost equal sized lots, correct, John?
Well, let's start from the back history.
Okay.
Can everybody hear me?
Yep.
Okay, good. Appreciate that. The assessor's maps showed lots along that side of the road with no known owner, et cetera. And there was some assessor's review of who actually should be owning it. And they came up with the Innes's, Florence specifically, on one of the deeds. At that point in time, Ms. Innes went back and hired a title examiner and a surveyor, and they went through the process of going through the record and coming up with a title exam and the surveyor and making a determination. And they determined that what you see there as a lot is a lot in a transaction. The transaction is not as of a subdivision, but as of apparently an old layout of lands, and that it got, shall we say, identified in different ways at different pieces of time without any real legal transactions going on, which happens a lot by relocation of plans and county layouts and stuff. So between the title examiner and the surveyor of record on that, they came up with this particular one lot, and the other parcel is an unknown owner. So that's exactly what we have at the moment that we know about and that we can come up with as on the record.
Right, and Mr. Bodie, to further elaborate on that, the assessor shows the lot configuration differently. So they show the lot that we're working on ends roughly around here, approximately.
Yes.
Since the assessor's data was incorrect, we wanted to be conservative, so we included this parcel's, the assessor ID on this when we did the abutter notification and on the process, just to clearly show that. So we're not creating a new lot here. This is what the deed showed the lot should be, but the assessor wasn't correct, and we didn't want to have any issues with the abutter notification or identification of lots, so we included both parcels on the application solely because part of this part, they overlapped. So this designation, we were more conservative, but this is the one lot.
So
And
Chris,
I-
go ahead.
We did see Ms. Pierce's email today. We're happy to take it up with Mr. Ringler separately for any building permit issues or anything like that. Mr. Ines can have a conversation with him, but we do believe we've shown the correct lot here.
How long has that lot been in existence, the lot that's being developed?
The Ines's came into it in the 1974 kind of time frame.
Okay.
In the 70s. And the lot layout, there was a lot layout in the 30s, 1930s. And then there was a road layout in the 30s. And there was a primary road layout in the 1850s. So those are the records that we're dealing with. And they don't quite jibe as they should. But what the conclusion was of the title examiner and the survey is that the best that they can come up with on that particular title record is that's the lot and that's the adjacent lot that has a unknown owner system.
So there's no intent here to do an approval not required plan with planning, is there?
According to what we're hearing from the title examiner and the surveyor, that is not a necessary action, no.
Okay, that's what I thought. Okay.
Anything else, Jim?
No, that's all right.
David?
No, it's confusing enough. So what you are saying is that, based on the subdivision plan that you included in your initial filing, that Lot 19 and Lot 18 were combined to create this one lot that you're showing now?
It doesn't seem to be that simple.
No. What I was saying is lot 18 and 19, the assessor doesn't show the lot line here. It shows it more in this vicinity. So because of the convolution of it, we just included the parcel designation of this one to ensure, because part of the work was here and the assessor's data didn't match up. But we need to use that for the abutters notification and for identifying it for purposes on the WPA form. So use your town's parcel ID to identify this, but your parcel data is incorrect.
I'm looking at the plans, not the assessors, because there's a 1961 plan that shows 19A and 19B, and Lot 18 is next to it under a different name. But then the subdivision plan shows Lot 18 and 19, which is the lot you want to build on. But back then, there was two separate lots. Here, what happened to that lot line? I'm just going back to your subdivision information you submitted, that's all.
I'd have to take a closer look. John, can you answer that? I mean, at the end of the day.
Basically, coming back to that, there are several, shall we say, drawings and plans of this layout of all these lots, and they don't seem to be necessarily of record in the proper form, in the proper way, and they don't necessarily match with the previous sides on that, except when they get down through these two lots, they've come up with a sufficient title chain to follow in that is in fact, the lots that got, as you can see, the one for the 47,200 and the adjacent one up in the corner, which is the where the trail goes back in. And that is the determination of the title examiner and the surveyor, and he's willing to survey that as a lot, certify it as a lot. So that's kind of what we have on the situation where we're standing with, and that title will go to the sale when it gets sold, and that will be re-examined and re-looked at for sure. But right now, that's the record we have, and that's the opinions we have.
Right. So to display this, and John, please correct me if I state something incorrectly here. This is the survey that I understand from your records that you found in the title search. This is showing the two lots as we've identified them. So this is the Innes parcel that's in front of you for the NOI. This is the other parcel that Ms. Innes would be donating any rights and interest she has to the town. This is how.
That's correct.
Thank you. This is how the assessor shows the two lots now. And I think this is where the confusion's coming in. So if you match these up, the lines coming through here, our parcel where we have proposed work is technically being shown on the assessor info here. This is incorrect assessor information. This is the correct. And the assessor wouldn't have had this record without going through the extensive detail that the survey and the title survey company went through. I think that's where the confusion's coming in. And to be safe on the filing, we included this parcel information because we weren't sure how the assessor was going to handle that. So we were conservatively listing parcel 25 with it, but this is the data and it is just the one lot.
So are you trying to say that based on the 1959 subdivision plan that shows lot 18 and 19, that because Enos bought that area, both lots, that line disappeared? I was just saying, does it still exist, or did that 1959 designation of two lots?
I believe the title examiner and the surveyor came to the conclusion that that line didn't exist in the first place.
It does in 1959.
That's correct. There is a 59 plan. And we don't believe that was a subdivision to begin with, as I understand it.
It was recorded.
You gonna tell them where lot 19 is?
Did you want to say something, or?
Lot 19 on that subdivision plan is actually between Old South Street and South Street, and it's included in the plan, in the notice of intent. It's just hard to read, so I downloaded the new one. So lot 19, which was transferred to Mrs. Innes in her deed, is from between those two areas, and it also says, as well as other land now are formerly owned by Childs, I believe. So that other land now are formerly owned by Childs is that corner lot that you have the actual plan from, and it's Plan 404 of 1961. And I think it's included in the notice of intent.
Is this the plan you're
Yes,
referring to?
that's it.
We included all of the history data we could find on it. And that's what you're looking at.
I found lots of history data. That lot there is the other land owned by Childs, and then just below it is Lot 18. And Lot 18 is 125 feet frontage. And it was part of that subdivision plan that you included in 1915, let's see, 1959. So you got two
So
different.
were those parcels recorded at that time in 1959?
Well, one was recorded in 1959, the 1959 plan, Lot 18, which is just south of this plan that they show on the screen. And the plan
Yeah.
that they're showing on the screen is Plan 404 of 1961. And it was owned at the time by the McRae's.
Well, if it's recorded as it is, I don't know how it can all of a sudden look different.
Well, that actually is the upper portion of the two lots. There's also Lot 18. If you look at the 1959 plan, it has Lot 18 just south of this particular lot. So that is why there were two lots shown
Yeah.
previously.
And we need
So can I, what is the concern here? I mean, we have the information shown by the title survey for the deed on the plan.
Lot 18.
If there's an issue with the building
Lot 1
commissioner,
hits the corner.
Mr. Spink and Mr. Ines can take it up with them. I'm not sure, that doesn't really seem to be a conservation commission issue here. We are showing from what the
No,
deeds show.
well, you need to show what you actually have. You've got two recorded, you have two lots. One lot is mostly wetlands, one lot is 125 feet wide. And what you're proposing to do, according to the commissioner, is called an infectious invalidity, which is a whole new term for me and great fun.
Maybe.
Maybe. No, that's what the building commissioner said.
I guess I'm still not sure what that relates to what we have proposed in front of you.
How it relates is you actually have two recorded plans in this one location. This is only half of it. So really what you would be working with is a frontage of 125 feet unless you go through the A&R process to clean up your boundaries and have them approve it, and then that would be recorded at the registry.
John, can you speak to that? That's,
If I'm correct in my regulations, the sequence of that is not necessarily required. If in fact that becomes an issue someplace along the line, then that can be handled. But we're making an application on the Conservation Commission, to the Conservation Commission, on what we believe is a lot at this time. And we're asking the Conservation Commission to make a determination on that lot.
There have been a lot of inconsistencies that I've been looking at, and one of them is, to overcome, to have the single-family house on a lot that was created before 1996, I believe. Where's I going with that? Oh, so your recorded lots, the one that you cite as being recorded before that, is Lot 18. So that's cited as the complying with the requirements of, let's see. You list it in your notice of intent, which I don't, do I have it in front of me? No, I don't have it in front of me right now. David has that.
You can take it.
And Jim, this is a,
John, I don't know the history of this as much. So what they say is the old lot 18 cutting through there, Jane, is that what you're saying? And therefore it's not a valid lot? Is that what you're trying to say?
Right, on your project narrative on page 11, it states proposed project meets requirements of this exemption for a single-family house because the lot was recorded before August 7th, 1976, on February 12th, 1959. So that was lot 18 only that was recorded on that plan.
John, you're gonna have to address this because I took the history.
Well, what we're coming back to is that the title examiner, because of all of the old history and the moving of all the lots, and the definition of each of the lots as it got passed back and forth between people, doesn't lead that is in fact the actual lot that is in existence at this point in time. And they came to the conclusion that the lot you see on this drawing is the lot that is in existence at this time. And that was created years and years ago, minimal 74, probably in the 1930s. that it got that configuration.
That plan is from 1961. And
Yes,
if you
I
notice on the
understand
plan, it says Lot 18 just below it.
I understand what you're saying, okay? And the title examiner goes, no, that's not the sequence and that's not the lot, is how it comes out. I can't give you the sequence that the title examiner used, but that is the conclusion that they've given to us.
Right,
It's,
so
Yeah, go ahead, Judy.
it makes a difference to us because of determining the impacts to the lot. So if this lot has been expanded, it should be recorded, and then the date of the recording would be now. So we would be looking at the Riverfront Protection Act differently for a lot that was for now. So it seems there's so much confusion about if this lot that you have presented to us is actually a real lot. It should be recorded, and it has to be resolved through the building commissioner's office, this A&R process. And then once we know and it's hand stamped and it's good to go, if it was created back in whatever you said, the 1970s, then we would still be looking at it as a lot created, before October 6, 1997, I guess. But I just don't know. I just don't know. The title people said that, but with all of these maps and everything, it doesn't appear that way. And the lot lines are recorded with the frontage was 125 and what the sides were and everything. So I don't know how you can go from a frontage of 125 to a frontage of 200 and something.
No,
Why?
this is from the 1980s.
I don't know, but I feel it makes a difference in how we look at this project, because it looks as though
Yeah.
I'm assuming.
right now,
It is, then if it's all in a single ownership, then it should be one big lot.
the existing lot is the one with the frontage of 125.
Unless this is, if this meets the zoning requirements.
I mean,
I don't know.
I know there's a lot of confusion on this, but, when Mr. Spink and I started looking at this, they went through a title. Who did you use, John? I mean, went through a professional to track down the history of this deed before we filed this.
Shows right.
The surveyor, the colonial engineering people hired the title examiner. I don't have it at my fingertips.
We've gone through the correct professional folks to do this, to make sure we have the proper lot configuration.
No.
We provided all that information back in October. I'm a little surprised. We were expecting, or hopeful to close the hearing tonight. And now we're hearing the issues with the lot configuration, which we presented to the commission 3 months ago. Mr. Ines is hoping to move this along. Spring's coming soon, and he'd like to be ready to go to construction.
And I think people have.
We believe we have the accurate lot configuration identified here.
If they just want to carve this out, and if they get a variance.
Can we say that the southerly side of this proposed lot is the southerly boundary line of Lot 18 based on a 1959
These
subdivision?
are already together.
Because it does show the same location hitting the center line of the river on the 59 plan
Not much of a gap.
and
No, it doesn't.
your plan.
It merges without a deed.
If that's the case, that means Lot 18 is there and combined with
You don't need a
Lot
separate
19B,
property to merge. All
that-
has to be is on the sole ownership.
you're proposing activity on both of them, but you don't show any merge of the two lots. I think
I don't know what,
a case here is can we approve this type of activity
Infectious
when you
is
don't
already-
probably meet some of the municipal
As if, here,
laws or regulations?
piece of property.
And would you need a variance on the frontage?
It doesn't,
We just
you can meter it, I mean, well, sometimes it's.
shouldn't be put in a position where we're approving an activity in the riverfront area, doing certain impacts
You got another piece.
and restoration
This is
if you're not in compliance with other municipal
third
laws.
parcel.
We're not trying to
Somehow meets frontage, however.
impede, we're just trying to make sure we're not making a mistake
Now made this even more,
and trying to write up order of conditions
and that's. that
when we
affects
shouldn't be doing
these
that.
two properties that are conforming, so you can't get a building permit.
John, I don't know what else to add to this. I don't know what you, if you want to add it.
I have nothing that I can add that would clarify what you're trying to solve.
They need to
What they should do is.
clarify their numbers.
I mean, at the end of the day, respectfully to the commission, we have a professional engineer certifying that this is the lot layout. I mean, his license is on the line. He's not going to.
Well, actually, I'm not certifying it, the surveyor is.
All right, well, the surveyor certifying that this,
It's the same deal, yeah.
right, I'm sorry.
That brings up a point that we only have the registered professional engineer's signature on the plan, but the surveyor's signature is not on the plan.
There should be a separate plan by a registered surveyor,
There is a separate plan for it, yeah.
but it wasn't included with those.
All this data was taken from that stamp plan, yeah.
And John, I don't believe we have that on record with them, do we?
Not that I'm aware of.
No,
On record, no.
No, we can provide that plan.
so on that plan, it's going to show 3 lots altogether.
2 lots.
3, you get the one up at the top
That's not a lot.
On which-
That's
on which
just got a
plan?
no clear title because of its,
No
the
clear
top
title.
part is
Okay.
over the stone wall.
So it's going to show lot 18 and 19 by registered surveyor.
I don't know, I haven't seen the plan, John.
The prior plan that was not clear. And that's what, that is in fact the reason for the determination as it went, I believe, was that the sequence of lots entitled are not as clear as is shown on this particular drawing that you're, or excuse me, the one you have up there on the screen. The distinction between 18 and 19, 19A and 19B were all, shall we say, not that clear in the actual record. But again, that's from just kind of a synopsis of the title examiner's thought process.
But is the title examiner going to say that 18, 19A, and 19B were in sole ownership of the
Therein lies the problem.
Yeah, well, 'cause obviously they would have merged because they're all under the same ownership. And if that happened prior to, you're telling me 74, this lot probably came into.
Yeah, it appears that was the kind of the conclusion they came with what appears on this one is 19B and 18. But the 19A piece of it is not, doesn't have that good back title.
Right, right.
So 19B technically is the old lot 19, and then
Oh,
lot
it's-
18.
It's not, David.
Oh.
Old lot 19, the lot 19 is between the old South Street, there's a little blip
Okay.
and South Street, and it's kind of squeezed in and it's on the filing, but you can't read the number.
It's one that used to be owned by Charles.
So, Joe, what do you think?
Reach out and get an opinion from building, just see
Okay.
whether that's a buildable lot.
Okay,
And if it,
and we need to
Something else, but.
copy.
and also zoning. asking him about, does this lot meet?
Yeah, well, he'll take care of this.
We could improve a single-family house in the riverfront area, there's no question about that.
Yeah,
But I don't think we can do it when we got two lots. So if you own both of them, you're supposed to merge them and make it,
You guys gonna have to seek a variance for the frontage?
Maybe.
What's his name?
Chris, or,
no. that's-
John, you know the issue on the site, so is lot 18 and 19B were never formally, these were never combined?
Chris, I would
As
think they
far as I
would.
know of the record, no, they were not ever, in fact, they may never have been created distinctly. Is part of the question that came up, I believe, but the answer is no, I've never seen a document that shows them both combined together in a planned land.
But they would have become into,
An operational combination of consolidation.
once they became non-conforming, they would have joined. Just under,
legally,
because they're under
yes.
common ownership, just to comply to the best you possibly can with what the zoning requirements are.
Right.
That is in fact, as I understand it,
Yeah.
what the law is for that kind of situation. That's correct.
Okay.
So Jim, when would that have happened? Now or back in 74?
It would have
What were
happened
the
when the
laws in
bylaw-
74?
It would have happened when the bylaw changed.
You're
Zoning
talking-
bylaw
Would it
changed.
happen? I'm confused. When would they have merged?
The merger would have likely occurred when the zoning bylaw changed that made these properties non-conforming. But if they were already non-conforming, the fact that they were owned by the same party, they would have instantly become under the same ownership and merged.
and any idea what year that was?
But I don't know when that year was. I mean, we have a,
That would have been before, I believe, the 70s.
So that raises the next point. Regardless of when they merged, it would have occurred before we filed the NOI, and because this is a single-family house, we fall under a different category of view under the Rivers Act. So that whole lot recording is not part of that performance standard. So I don't think the time doesn't really matter as long as they were merged before the filing of the NOI, which they were in this case. If this was a subdivision project, yes, I would agree that the timing pre or post 97 would matter, but this is a single family house of one lot.
right, you're not splitting out any lots here, right? I mean, this is just.
Right.
It's a buildable lot, hopefully. And you could just build a single-family home on a lot, and you have that right.
Correct.
It's a pre-existing non-conforming lot without a building, as a single-family home.
Except that if the merger is now, that there's not as much, the Rivers Protection Act is going to be more stringent if this is combined now,
No, that's what I'm saying.
after,
The timing does not matter.
okay.
Family house lot. And if this became, when these were combined under the same ownership, that isn't happening now. That happened previously. So the Rivers Act separates out from the other performance standards. That would be standard. The timing matters when you're looking at the Rivers Act under standard 10.584D for no significant adverse impact. However, if you continue reading down, it goes notwithstanding the provisions of 10.54D1 or 2, the issuing authority shall allow the construction of a single family house, a septic system, et cetera, and we've provided that. So we fall into that performance standard. So the timing, even if we came in today and said we have these two lots and we're combining them into one, the 1997 restriction before and after for what you can develop isn't applicable here because this is a single family house lot. It's not subject to that.
Chris, just to make things a little bit more clear for us and for everyone, can you provide a narrative, including what your surveyor has, we need a signed copy for the surveyor, and then your land deed guys, tell us, how they come to this conclusion. Just a simple narrative, so that we can take it to the building inspector and make sure that he's happy with it, and then we can proceed with that. I think that would clarify all of our questions. Because we're just going back and forth over when 1 lot, 2 lot, 3 lots, it's, we're just going back and forth on a loggerhead on this. So if we could get a narrative that we could take to the building inspector
Not really.
and
Barry can approve
get
that.
it settled.
You guys don't have to worry about it.
Oh, I know
Don, is that something we can provide?
I know, but if that's for building permit, if they start clearing the,
My answer to that is I have no,
because now you can't do anything else.
whether they are going to be willing to do all that or not. They did it once. I suspect they will do it again.
And can you guys have them attach to this narrative any of the pertinent documents, the deeds, the plans, so we can reference them as we look through this, as well as the commissioner for building?
They did provide,
Yeah, we can look into that.
they did provide most of that
Appreciate it.
Okay.
in the original notice.
I will say, Mr. Bodie and the commission, I know Mr. Ines is a little frustrated with the process here, particularly with this discussion tonight, because he feels that this should have been brought up by the commission a month, 2 months ago. We've been working with you, and he feels that this is just another delay slowing him down. And to his point, I think he's got some validity, because this material was presented back in October, and if the commission had concerns with the lot configuration, this could have been brought to our attention sooner. Because obviously this is going to be another delay, another couple of weeks while we try to resolve this and get it to you. And we could have been working on this in November and December.
As
But we will
as
look
a quick
into it.
explanation, Chris, I was wondering about the alteration to the town's South Street right-of-way. I was wondering what was allowed with that kind of thing. I don't know zoning laws, and something just wasn't, the numbers were not jiving, and you know that. I sent them to you. I've been spending a lot of time on this, and Barry told me that basically the parts that you are proposing to alter may or may not, which isn't your property, may not be allowed. I mean, you're proposing to alter the town's layout.
Well, that's common for any new A&R lot, though, Jane. You have to connect to the street.
Well, that's why I asked him about it, because, I'd asked you, does this include the right-of-way? Does it not include the right-of-way? What's the inner, what's the outer? I've been trying to figure out a way to fashion this and have findings that match with the information that you've submitted. And the commission needs to make their findings saying, yes, this complies with this because of this. But I haven't been able to pull it together. Maybe I don't know. I don't know what to tell you. I've been working on this a lot, trying to figure this out, because your numbers were not consistent.
You want us to include in our application the actions that would end up in the right of way?
He's already clarified the numbers for me. I think the only thing you really need to do is just have a surveyor certify the plan that you've proposed. I mean, that seems to be the quickest and easiest way, according to what I've heard. I'm not trying to cause problems, I'm just trying to do it right.
And we would take that plan and bring it to the building inspector.
Yeah.
Right.
We have.
Got to be,
Sorry.
got to go, yeah, it's got to go through the building commissioner and, with whatever this planning board's A&R process is to record or approve the A&R plan.
Assuming we need one. According to what Mr. Spinks provided, he doesn't believe we need one.
Okay.
But we can, John, I'd suggest, why don't we reach out to the title company and see if we can get a narrative, and
See what we can get out of it. Yes, absolutely.
we'll present that to the commission, and hopefully that satisfies the members so we can move forward.
Chris, I think too, if you provide something in a form that, we're sort of discussing, that it'll also help you guys when you go for a building permit, because I think there's going to be a question from the building commissioner. So if you can set it up in a way that sort of spells it out for them as well, don't duplicate your efforts.
Okay.
You'll save your client time. So there's no question. Get that building permit, build your home.
Okay. We will definitely look into that. Is the commission satisfied with all the other changes on the plan that we presented here tonight that have been made here? 'Cause ideally, hopefully we can come back and show everything at the next hearing and have this resolved. I just like to know if there's any other comments or concerns here so we can move forward with this plan if acceptable.
Chris, I agree. I was hoping to have everything signed, sealed, and delivered tonight as well. So it's been a long process, and I just want to make sure that we get it done correctly.
Right. Understood.
I'm still sticking with how I feel about this. I'm just one commissioner that I feel as though the house and the house and the garage combined are too big. And I had suggested a one-car garage, but that was rejected. That I thought I was being generous. It's not really in keeping with the size of the houses. So you didn't change it, and so we'll just go on from there, I guess.
Okay. Noted.
Anything else from anybody?
Oh, he mentioned about moving this over to here, the leaching
Yeah.
for the roof.
Yeah.
I think he wants an answer for that.
Yeah, I mean, we can move this if you'd like, but it's really not going to change anything. We still need the clearance for the construction around the house, so we would
Right.
still have the same limit of work.
Right.
So I don't know what benefit that would provide to anything. We'd prefer it in the back, but if the commission wants to move, we have to maintain in this small area with the setback line. So we feel it's more appropriate here, but we can move it if that's what the commission members would prefer.
Was the reason why that question came up?
Well, excuse me. I think it came up because then you could have a narrower backyard.
I'm fine with the proposed location.
What's that?
I'm fine with the proposed location. I don't
Thank
think
you.
you have to move it.
All right, anything else? Motion to continue until the 25th and get it settled. Chris, any time frame as to when you'll get that narrative to us so that we can get it to the building commissioner ASAP?
In the survey plan?
I'll defer to John. John, how quickly do you think that's something they could do, if they can do it?
I have absolutely no idea.
Okay.
We'll make the request, and then we'll see what their schedule is, and I'll let Ms. Pierce know.
Okay, thank you, Chris.
That includes, Chris, the survey plan too, stamped survey plan.
Correct. Yes.
Yeah. Okay, thank you much.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Did the board vote to continue?
Yep. Make a
Continue.
motion to continue South Street parcel north, 473 and 180, 157-601.
Here's second.
Second.
Discussion. All in favor?
All right.
Aye.
Opposed?
I
Aye.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate the time tonight.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening.
Looking off. We have a cease and desist for Garrett's Blaine Road extension. Do you have everybody here? Scott?
Foxborough here for Garrett's Blaine. So,
Keep the mic in front of you so you can be heard, please.
I don't like cameras and microphones.
Well, neither do I, but we live with them.
I didn't know that I could do that. I could sit in my living room right now. So I just wanted to make a brief statement before we get into this. So under consultation from my engineer first, the project that we're talking about, the lot in particular that we're talking about, is 100% upland, and there are no bordered vegetated wetlands, no streams, no lakes, no ponds, no certified vernal pools within 100 feet, no riverfront area within 200 feet. So I was instructed that, yes, what we've done to this point is just cut trees, but we were gonna cut trees and stump and stuff like that. I came in voluntarily. I tried to a couple of times, and it's no real excuse, but out of courtesy to let Jane know that I was starting work down there. But at that point, I really didn't need, there was no purpose for me to do that. I needed no permits, no permission, no nothing to do what I have currently done to this point. So then, after that, we had a discussion. Jane did the verbal cease and desist, so now, of course, I had to get my attorney involved, and I got a government official involved, and we went over everything, and still the stance is basically the same, that there are none of the above, so in all of their views, it's not even in the conservation's jurisdiction. You know, that being said, it is in my interest, and will always be in my interest, to work with the board, so I'd like to have some kind of a discussion about the potential vernal pool. I don't have, unfortunately, I tried to get some more plans out of Bay Colony today, and the one person that was available to do that didn't have his copy of it electronically, so I really don't have a whole heck of a lot to show. I do have my copy, my dirty coffee-stained copy of that green outline is the limit of clearing on there, and there's a, so the potential discussion of the vernal pool, which is an isolated land subject to flooding, is shown on this. There is one bordered vegetated wetland on there, and there's a couple of, off in the distance here, already certified vernal pools, none of which are on the property, but does affect the small corner here to keep the 100-foot buffer from that certified vernal pool. So those things were flagged, so we didn't encroach on any of those areas. So I don't know if you want to take a look at this, or...
No, I've been up there, I've
Okay.
looked at it, so, I guess the history of it as far as, and it goes back a number of years, it's been stated that that is a vernal pool. And I'm curious as to why back in April of 13, that the information was submitted for certification.
No, it wasn't until 2013. The former town manager, Kevin Pecos, asked me to certify the 2 vernal pools that abutted the town's property before it was sold, so that we could protect the 100-foot. In 2013, when Judy and I were out there and wandering around through the woods, we thought that we found the second vernal pool, when in fact we had found this one. So we took a picture off-site. In 2018, when Scott was starting to
No, but
build.
In your agent's report, you said you were submitting the report to ESP for certification.
In 2013?
April 22nd, 13.
Those are the two ones. Those are the two vernal pools that we were asked to certify, but like I said, when we were out mucking about trying to find the second one, which is kind of in the woods, we came across one that we thought it was and realized after a little while that it wasn't. But we saw at the time that it was a vernal pool still.
So this, what you're referring to in your manager's report is not those vernal pools?
No, I had made a little map and arrows and
Oh.
stuff saying that they needed
Okay.
to be certified.
All right.
And then in 2018, after the lot or lots, I can't remember, were sold to Scott, he was building and I went out to see the limit of work and he was sticking to the 100-foot, but he was getting a little close. And we talked about it and I said, well, and for your information, the lot, he was saying how he's going to buy the lot, the rest of the lots. And I said, well, you know, that is a soon-to-be certified vernal pool. So you won't be able to touch the 100 feet. The house that at Edwards Road that owns that property actually was built by a woman who was, you know, it goes back. It was built by a woman who was one of my senior volunteers at the Lane property. And she was talking about this wonderful pond that held all these frogs and blah, blah, blah. I said, well, if you want to get it protected, then you'll need to certify it. And she had since sold it to her daughter and son-in-law. So she asked if they would like it done, and they said yes. So I was asked to go out and certify it. So Judy and I went out and collected data in December 2018, around the same time, I think it was the same time we spoke to Scott. I'm not sure. And we found the obligate fairy shrimp and sent it in for certification to the VRPS. And I kept checking back and it hadn't been done, and I'd sent letters to I'd sent notes in the online heritage program. It's called VPRS. Never received a response, and finally asked one of the heritage people last spring, you know, if it had been certified. And he said that, no, it hadn't, but he looked at it and said that it qualified for certification and he basically approved it. The rest is history.
So actually, it hasn't been technically certified yet?
No, it has. I have the
closest
letter.
thing Is Tuesday, April 20th, 2020.
Okay.
With Fish and Wildlife responds to Jane's inquiry.
So with COVID and all, the process is screwy. They haven't been able to access remotely the VRPS, and the heritage people had to work remotely. And it used to be that the certified vernal pools were only updated every several years with the rare species habitat maps. But now, because we've got, you know, the Oliver's data layers, I guess they're supposed to be uploaded immediately, but you know, all bets are off during this crazy time we're in right now. So,
So if
yeah.
I can add a
So
few comments.
the point is, you can't count on, you know, going on to the website to see if it's a certified vernal pool. I mean, previously they used to put out books they'd only change the books once every 4 or 5 years. That didn't mean there weren't pools that were certified between that time. So the thing that should have been done is the developer should have either gone to Jane or to go to Mass Heritage to see if the pool had been certified. And they just assumed it wasn't because they didn't find it on, you know, the magical map, even with everything that was going on. And the fact that Jane and I had specifically talked to Scott about the fact that it was a vernal pool. So this was blatant disregard for a town bylaw, a bylaw that was voted on by the town to preserve a specialized habitat, natural resources. The town wants these resources. And we did, I mean, in terms of trying to communicate that there were these resources back there, it would have been the right thing to do to go and ask Jane. We told him it was being certified. And it was approved by, and put in the database by Jake Coble at the Heritage Program in June. That's when he accepted it as, yes, he accepted the criteria. That's when it was officially certified, is in June.
Can I
He
comment?
accepted the criteria.
Sure.
Okay, to clarify, I did meet with Jane and Judy on that particular day that they're talking about, and they did tell me about the potential of that vernal pool. So I would kind of compare that to, my accountant says they're talking about changing the tax laws in 2021, and that might have an adverse impact on you, so you better prepare in 2020. So I'm constantly checking the data to see, and it's not a certified vernal pool. I don't know if they forgot, they gave up on it, what happened, it wasn't a vernal pool, and I certainly do not find it in my interest to inquire about it. So you go onto MassGov's website, and they refer you to the Oliver, put in these data overlays, and it will give you the most updated information on certified vernal pools in the state, okay? So I'm like, geez, I wonder, Jane presented that letter in June, and I look, well, I wonder when's the last time they updated this? The middle of October in 2020. So that map was updated this past October. That letter was dated in June. I still look at it and say to myself, it's not certified. So got legal counsel, and they're telling me that that letter basically is not a legal certification, that that's a certified vernal pool. So from my attorney, from my engineer, and from a government official, they've all told me the same thing. So I don't think that it was any blatant disregard to anything, because currently it's either a certified vernal pool or it's not a certified vernal pool. It may be a certified vernal pool, the sky may fall tomorrow. But today, all information available, it is not a certified vernal pool. Based on Massachusetts
Okay. I think we're
website,
splitting
latest
hairs. I mean,
information for a certified vernal pool, go here. Okay, I went there. Before I came to the meeting tonight, I checked one more time. I have pictures, different dates that I checked.
But just, you know, regardless, in your heart, did you think it was a vernal pool?
Whether it's a vernal
There's the
pool,
legal and there's the right thing
so,
to do.
yes, I think that there's a vernal pool. I think there's a lot of vernal pools out there. There's 2 adjacent vernal pools, there's vernal pools everywhere, but it's not a certified vernal pool.
Okay, but the vernal pools are protected.
Right, the pool itself,
The pool itself is protected.
which isn't even on my property.
Okay, but it also has a 100-foot boundary around it.
In the town of Foxborough for a certified vernal pool. Not under state, because it's an
okay.
isolated land subject to flooding, it's not a vegetated bordered
You're splitting
vegetated
hairs.
wetland.
I mean, it's still a vernal pool. You know it, I know it, everybody knows it.
We
and
told you
should
it
be-
was.
What's that, Judy?
I said, we told him it was.
So, you know,
So you're telling us if you were speeding down the highway, you didn't see the speeding sign, and the cop pulled you over, you'd be okay because you didn't see the speeding sign? That's a pretty weak argument.
I don't see the relevance.
well, put us this way.
Jane and Judy told me in 2018, it currently wasn't certified. I don't remember the exact conversation, but I know that we talked about that. So all I know is that that's a potential, and I know under the wetlands bylaw, the town of Foxborough bylaw, what I can do, what I can't do. Following the bylaw, following the law. I did nothing illegal, I did nothing that I'm not in my right to do, so I don't see, I wasn't speeding. I was doing the speed limit when I saw that sign, so I wasn't speeding. I was working within the bylaws.
If you were told that it was a certified pool, why wouldn't you go back to the authorities
I
that
wasn't
told you
told
that?
at that time that it was a certified pool.
You were aware
I
that
was
was a
told,
potential
the only
certified
thing that
pool.
was presented to me was a week and a half ago, was that piece of paper from Jane. Nobody told me it was a certified. They told me they were working on that, but it wasn't
That's
certified.
crap.
Could be working, it could be not a pool. It didn't get certified, right? How do I know what actually happened down there? It's not a certified.
You could have
vernal pool.
asked Jane. You didn't ask, you asked everybody else that told you it was okay, but you could have asked Jane.
You were shopping for the right answer. You were shopping for your answer that you wanted.
It's just so aggravating because we try and do the right thing to protect these areas.
Yeah.
And just get burned again and again and again. These are areas that the town wants to preserve. And it just got wiped out so that, you know, a few people can line their pockets, basically. It just aggravates me to no end. I'm trying to stay calm. But
So can I ask that we're done, can we be done pointing fingers and let's move forward?
I think, go ahead.
I would point
So
to
do you
you
admit-
guys.
You admit that you.
My stance, my attorney's stance, my engineer's stance, my government official stance is that it's not a certified vernal pool, that it's not in the Conservation Commission's jurisdiction at this point. I don't want to blatantly do anything because that's not what my intent is, according to Judy. I don't want to blatantly do thing. I would rather say, okay, let's come to some sort of a agreement as to what we will do or won't do out there, and that not be the 100-foot current buffer zone, because that would be a huge detriment to that lot based on its configuration.
So what is your plan?
Probably when I leave here tonight, I'm gonna have to consult with the said people, how do we move forward with this? I had suggested with some, informal discussion with Jane and Judy, could we take another area and could we make that, now that it has not yet been disturbed, because there's some adjacent area, if I lose all of this land, I'm gonna have to force myself to clear that land over there, to create an area for septic system and yard and whatnot for the property. So instead of now clearing more trees, which still could be potential habitat area, why don't we agree to, I won't clear that area, based on the property boundaries, it's approximately 25 feet from the high water mark recorded in 2018 to the property line. So there is currently a 25-foot automatic built-in buffer zone. What if we increase it to 50 feet? And I'd be willing to, put a rail fence, some postings or something. It would be advantageous to me for grading purposes to build a boulder wall or something that delineates the 50-foot no disturb zone, which would be 25 feet onto my property and 25 feet would be onto the neighbor's property.
Jane,
And then I could still,
which side of the vernal pools, Jane, do do the amphibians and,
Well,
Migrate.
they say that they're more apt to, there's no hard and fast rule, but as I explained to Scott, they are more apt to go, because they live all their life in the uplands. And so they're more apt to go to the south-facing, deciduous forested slopes. And I think that's probably because they melt first. And that's pretty much exactly what he just cut.
The most south facing would be the area that I'm talking about that has not been disturbed yet.
Now, do you have a plan for what your plans are for up there?
All that I have is, again, we were just creating a limit of clearing, was this green line here. There are some red boxes that are just basically represent a building envelope, not in particularly the house, and then the septic system. So basically, engineer went in and, you know, setbacks, zoning setbacks, put a box in, okay, we gotta put the septic system in here, and then created basically 40 feet around all of those envelopes.
So these envelopes, here, and here with those are proposed homes, right?
Yes,
Okay.
yes. And again, that's just kind of more of a bigger box. That's a large box
Right,
relative
right.
to what the home would actually be, just for the sake of, we're just clearing trees at this point.
Yep.
So,
Yep.
so you got 4 lots you own up there?
yes,
You're gonna extend the road
yes.
to whatever the planning board requires? If you do.
Yes, so interesting to see that group before me. I am very well versed in what they're going through there. So this is a way in existence.
Yep, I know the story, yep.
The current 4 remaining lots are all conform,
Okay,
so I don't have pre-existing non-conforming, but
Yep.
I had one of those that I had to combine that were in common ownership that didn't conform, so I've been down that road before.
so your cutting has gotten close to, look at the green line. Is that the area that's already been cleared?
So unfortunately, when Jane asked me here, we had pretty much not entirely cleared that area, so I didn't go into that area anymore. The lot closer to the existing roadway is not entirely cleared. The rest of it has been cleared, except for some few. I tried to create areas in between the house, see if there were any trees that were worth saving and/or weren't going to be affected by grading and whatnot. So there's a few miscellaneous standing trees in
So
there.
basically, you said 25 feet has not been cut. That's on your property, or is that? the
No,
neighbor?
we're
They've cut
almost,
to
we're not
the
quite to the
property.
line, but we're close to the lot line. So yes, unfortunately, that 25 feet has been, it has, other than the trees cut, it hasn't been disturbed. They haven't pulled the stumps, haven't touched the vegetation or anything.
But the trees were most of the vegetation. I didn't see anything growing anywhere beyond,
Yeah, it was fairly, so the process that they do when they go in there, they go in with a brush cutter first. So they knock down all of the small stuff and then go in and cut the larger trees. So, prior to, that was fairly thick in there.
yeah. Lovely certified.
And with pretty good sized trees, maples, oaks.
Oh, yeah. Other stumps.
Yeah, so and if you look, if you work your way down towards where it says the old cart path, that's the area that I'm talking about. And that would be more, so if you look at your north arrow, that is actually the most south-facing slopes that I have on the property. Right on that, where it lists the old cart path. Those are facing due south.
Has this one been certified?
I don't think that is one.
Oh, you don't think?
I don't,
One of the problems I think you're gonna have to deal with though
it's
is,
larger.
that thing's
than
been
it looks.
certified now, so any notice of intent that's filed
Oh,
later,
this area. But I
you're
don't
gonna have
know
to
exactly how
take into
far.
account
And then
that
the other ones
certified
are-
vernal pool, the distances off that. Certified vernal
Piece
pool,
of it.
for when you do your proposed construction of those homes.
Right.
The pools are here, these are the two.
I don't know how that's gonna
Oh, they all
affect,
combined,
Okay.
you know, your positioning of the home and stuff.
Yeah, I understand.
And it's certified. Yeah.
They'll be certified, so we'll make some
That's,
restitution. in there.
you know, again, I have no desire to go there.
Frustrated by
It's
what's
always
required.
Yeah.
to work with everybody
Because I
involved
sound like a
here.
jerk.
You know, I was hoping again that we could come to some sort of an agreement and it would stick in the event that this becomes certified at a later date. And, you know, it is what it is versus me trying to go in there now and get done what I can get done prior to. You know, like I said, I really don't want to go there. That's,
Right.
Oh, this is the main one, that's the one we're talking about.
and then also as a note, all of that, when it comes to this area over here, those proposed construction easements, that was kind of another potential plan that would take that eventually out to South Street, Beach Street, Beach Street, yeah, Beach Street.
Yeah.
But that's not gonna happen. That cul-de-sac is gonna end and that's it. There won't be any grading or any easements or anything to go into that additional area back there. What's listed on there as a proposed temporary cul-de-sac is gonna become a permanent cul-de-sac with no further expansion, at least not by me.
Okay. All right. Just, okay, I'm gonna. 1, 2. Okay. My own edification.
Okay. 1,
So, Jane, on the abutting property
yeah, I think we did that, right?
Okay.
where
4,
that pool is
3,
located,
those will
is
cross
there
the
any
street, 1,
buffer
2.
left between his boundary line and the edge
Yeah.
of the pool?
So when you,
I haven't walked
I
that there,
don't
so-
know, I don't know,
Oh,
because the
I
thing
know
is,
why.
it's low
Yep.
right now.
because of the vernal pool.
And
And
it
it is certified
floods
now,
to-
it's got the letter.
It didn't look anything like I remembered it looking, as a matter of fact.
You're
I'm
clearing.
trying to figure out now, maybe I didn't walk far enough to the left.
And when you come into
So-
this one, we'll discuss them.
In that one picture that I forwarded to you guys,
Yeah.
like the panorama, it's really large.
These two.
And
Well, you
what
look
we
on the
saw
aerial.
was kind of small, and I was scratching my head over it because I couldn't tell where I was.
Yeah, when you look at the aerial, you can see how big it is.
It's kind of hard to see with the aerial, honestly.
A little bit of, not the vernal pool, but this one's
It doesn't show up very well at all.
very corner.
But
Shows up pretty
it
good
was
on this.
called a potential vernal pool by the Heritage Program years ago.
Decent water for the 100-foot part of the vernal pool. So that's what big home, knocked out.
I'm so tired of vernal pools right now.
And then this-
Yes.
There's a couple of
So basically, this is all gone. Is that okay?
that one and
And that's,
This is,
this is what we're talking about.
no, this is another, that's one of the ones that's certified, that's certified.
There's another one here.
Like, let me see.
Yeah, I got the picture.
Did you get the picture?
No, I'm saying I get the picture of how, I can,
Did I show you this? Did I send that around to everyone? I don't even remember at this point.
And depending on how wet it is one year versus another, how much, that could be one giant pool with enough water.
Possible, all of them in the area combined, but I don't really think it would, but I don't know.
I get it. So now we gotta, so now the pool is certified, that pool is certified, right?
Hold on. It got us at a technicality, really, because during this time with COVID, you can't really count on anything working properly.
That could solve a future title issue.
Scott, as a matter of fact, I did talk to Jay Kubel of the Heritage Program, and I said, what's the story? And he said, well, this is how it normally happens. You know, we do this, and then we do that, and then right now, we're really, really backed up. There's a backlog that's crazy. And he says, once I've said that it's certified, you know, it's been approved, it's approved. And the whole thing with the Wetlands Protection Act, it's confusing because, as I told you, isolated land subject to flooding, one of the protected interests is not wildlife habitat unless that presumption has been overcome by clear showing that it functions as a vernal pool.
Yeah.
Which, as we said, was the bottom of the food chain in the woods. So, I mean, this is all that's left in town. I'm just gonna be butting my head against the wall. And I don't wanna hear it. I feel like a jerk, you know, pointing these things out, but it was voted for a reason. And I don't think people even understood how important they were back then. I mean, it's your town. It's everyone here's town. It's not my town. I'm just trying to, you know, show the facts and I was trying to be proactive too.
I
And
know, and I appreciate that, and, you know, we had a sincere discussion out there, so I
know.
get all that, I realize all that, and again, I'm here, and
well, now it is
with a
certified.
peace pipe in hand, hopefully.
Now it is officially certified.
Can't hear everything.
What's your timetable for developing these lots?
So again, I've started down there under the way in existence. I have to have pavement down before I can apply for a building permit.
Okay.
So I will be ready to put pavement down as soon as weather permits, hopefully early, mid-April. And at that point, I would be filing for building permits.
Okay.
So you gotta get the base coat down.
I have to get the
basically
base
it.
coat down, yeah. Have to get the base coat down. I'm sure I could, you know, try to discuss some sort of bonding or whatnot, but I think the way that my schedule is going right now, it's just in my best interest just to get the base coat down. And
Can you do that in the winter?
no, I'm thinking it will be
Plants are
early,
closed.
mid-April. I
They were
should be-
they were filling the potholes around the corner for me on my way to work today. What a mess.
There
Well,
is under
potholes is
special,
different
so
than-
if there's no frost and the temperature's not gonna go below 45 in a 24-hour period of time or something like that, I forget exactly what it is, you can get a exemption, but it runs November 15th to April 15th is, you have to get a special
Really?
exemption to pave.
Wow.
yes.
Are you putting any drainage in that's?
So, I don't know again how much you can see on your plan. So the existing drainage was designed, this was a master plan here. So there's a natural on lot number one, actually it's on both lot number 1 and lot number 2. So if you look behind that shaded with green on mine,
Is that on the left or the right side of the
On,
road going in?
the road, we're going down the road going in, it's on the left-hand side.
Okay, good. Phew. Well, that's one good thing.
Yeah, so there's a small little culvert down the end with some riprap, and then it goes in naturally into that, so it's just a natural vernal pool. We didn't do any disturbance in there or anything. And to this day, it's working fine. So there's no additional, so those catch basins and everything that are existing out there, all that was designed to handle this
Okay.
additional piece of road.
So, all right, what's your plan going forward is, okay, do the base coat and then start, are you-
Yeah, so right now,
I'm concerned now, if we get a rainstorm or anything, did you have hay bales?
I put a wattle down in the areas that, in my view, you know, we could get some siltation. So, you know, for the sake of all of our discussion, I will stay away from that area still and not touch any stumps or anything, so there really shouldn't be any erosion. In the last heavy rain that we had, there was no,
The leaves
the
and the
good thing is the
natural,
soils are so good down there, it's just draining in. It's
and
all
also
good
the
ground.
vegetation, the roots and all is holding it together, and the
Yeah.
leaves will keep it.
Yeah, so I think as long as I don't go in there and start pulling those stumps out, I don't think we'll have any issues. But I did in all the areas that I kind of just, you know, based on the grading, I put a wattle all along
Okay.
there.
All right,
And also to help the guys know where the line was there.
So the guys know that you're not wanting them to stump or grub that area?
Yeah, well, the stumping falls into my
You do that
job
work?
description, yeah.
Okay,
So I could blame nobody but myself if that happens.
all right.
please
guess-
don't, please.
Yeah, minimize any activity in Lot 3.
Yep, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, so I started stumping on the other side today, actually, just because I want to try to get that cul-de-sac cut in. So I will get the road
Three
to
is-
rough grade,
Right.
then I have to run the water main down and get the electric and cable conduit in, and then I'll basically just kind of be sitting there waiting for the weather to get the pavement down.
Okay.
Okay, anything else?
Are
Anything
we
else,
gonna do any
Judy?
restoration?
What's that?
Gonna do any restoration?
That will come with when he files the NOI for Lot 3, because it will be within the 100-foot of the vernal pool, which is now certified, so we'll have some work done at that time.
It's a resource area, and Scott, you probably will not need to file a notice of intent under the state, only the town's bylaw.
Yep.
How about fencing off the area?
Fence is bad for wildlife, fence is bad.
No,
You mean
just
at the top of the
no,
hill,
a temporary fence of the,
that
just the
orange
limit of
construction fencing? Yeah, I think that'd be good.
He also,
accidents seem to happen, so.
he
others will
mentioned he
happen.
moved the stone wall 50 feet away as a potential barrier.
Yeah. Well, we'll discuss
I
that.
think
on
we
the-
can clearly define where the line is.
Scott, beyond the green line on the north side up to the old cop path, is that all a different lot or?
No, well, there's a combination there. I don't know how well you can see.
It becomes part of 2 and 3?
Yes,
Okay.
yeah, so if you look at the road, the center line of the road, give or take, represents the lot lines, but
Yeah.
it's not 100%. So it's a combination of both of those lots.
Okay.
Any other comments, questions?
Well, I didn't hear an answer to my question.
And what was that? Oh, about the fencing?
Whether we're gonna clearly define where the line is.
Is
Did you?
that a question to me?
Yeah.
There is.
Based on what? High water on my plan?
Verified vernal pool limitations.
I'm sorry?
The limitations, the 100-foot surrounding the vernal pool.
Right, what I'm saying is we don't have a clear definition on what the vernal pool is. We use the current surveyed on 12/14/2018, the water elevation.
Is my assumption incorrect that this pool is now certified?
Yes.
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 And the level of the pool was low when Jane and I saw it, but we've had a drought. So, I don't know it was surveyed in, when was it surveyed?
12/14/2018, which I think was in a similar time frame that you were out there.
Yeah, that, is more like it, yes. Because there's.
Oh, yeah,
the
you
two
mean when you
pools
were out there
together.
a week ago?
Yeah, it looked
It was
really
low,
small
yeah,
a week
it's
ago.
low right now.
I
Right
didn't
now
even,
it's-
I couldn't even tell where I was.
Yeah, it's low right
Yeah.
now, but I think it was
But-
pretty flooded at this point here.
But this is from 2018, Jane, when we went out there, that the water level, the two pools were connected.
Yeah, that's good.
So that's when this was surveyed. So I think that's probably a pretty good representation of, what the extent is of the pool.
Okay, good.
Probably.
So do 100 feet off this pool.
200 feet off of what they listed as
what
the
is-
high
yeah, what
water,
is
yeah,
Considered the isolated land subject to flooding,
yeah,
that line, the approximate location.
okay. Yeah, because if you look at their contour line, it falls pretty close all the way along
Yeah.
to that contour line, so.
So we're looking at this plan that you have the.
Just for
the green-
purposes of dealing with it now. I mean, when
Yep.
you file a notice of intent,
Yep,
someone can go out there and delineate it
yep,
and submit that as part of the application. But for now, just to have
just
a
mark it
location.
off, don't
Yeah.
go near it, yep. Agreeable.
Anything else? All right. I think we're.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming in.
Thank you.
Good night now. Do we have anything else on the oil spill?
Yes, as a matter of fact. Jim, did you see the last version I sent you?
Was that just updated with my small changes?
Yeah, it was updated with your small changes, but they were also saying the issuing authority was the LSP, which it's the Conservation Commission.
Right.
And start date I put as tomorrow.
Okay.
End date I put as 2/11/2021. General, let me see. General conditions are just per the form. Special conditions, I put see attached work scope, which they refer to. And then I put attachment work scope, which is not signed, but I think it's fine. So,
So basically, what they'll do is do their assessment work, and when they decide what action they need to take, then you want them to come back in front of us and actually go through the notice of intent process, unless it's something that's outside 50 feet or so.
yeah, they wanted it to be longer than 30 days,
Yeah.
which, nothing ventured, nothing gained, right?
An emergency certification is fine.
Oh, absolutely, and I was out there with her last week, the woman who is putting this together, and that entire site, which I think is a double-wide lot for the lots down there, is completely impervious surfaces.
Yeah, it's 100% paved.
Unbelievable. So, I think that this is going to be great. I said to her, I know that you guys want it fixed, and I'm sure everyone else does too. But I mean, you could see the oil going along the cracks on the cement, and yeah. So, and the work to be allowed, you reviewed it, so, and it is the way it is. So, I don't know, what do you guys do? Do you make a vote to approve the emergency certification form for the Heaton property at 68 Ponce Heights Avenue? Start date 1/12/2021, end date 2/1/2021, and work as described.
I'll make that motion.
There's second.
Second?
I'll second it. Could you make sure you get assigned work?
In essence, I do have a signed work
Okay.
order because they sent me a PDF copy where the LSP was naming himself as the issuing authority and actually signed as the issuing authority. So by default, I think we got it. I don't know. What do you think, Jim?
Yeah.
And you saw that they do not have what you had asked about, DEP.
Approval yet? So they haven't requested, they probably just don't know how many cubic yards or whatever impact controls are there.
That's what that means? What work will have to be done?
Yeah, they'll make a request. It
I
could be a
think that-
verbal request.
I think they're working pretty closely with the.
With
the
Andy
fellow-
Jones?
Yes,
Yeah.
that's the name. Yeah.
Have the Heatons responded at all?
Apparently, he has a lawyer representing him at this point, which is why they're moving forward with the LSP, because it sounds like he was not really feeling it was very urgent.
His only response was to hire a lawyer, is it?
Well, that's good enough if it gets done.
That's a good move.
It's a very good move.
Yeah.
First person you should call.
So we had a second. Do we need to have a motion to approve, or?
All in favor of
Aye.
motion?
Aye.
Aye.
All right.
Hey,
Opposed? None? So be it. We have a partial certificate of compliance. You want
Yes.
Pleasant Street? What was that?
Diana knows that story better than I. Pleasant Street?
Pleasant Street?
This was, when you guys approved it, it was called Mary Nora Estates, but it then went on to be changed to called Pleasant Valley, Pleasant View, something like that. But this was one of those that the whole subdivision was approved under one order, and now they're selling this house lot. So they need the partial certificate of compliance to complete their sale.
And it's an old filing, isn't it?
Yeah, 443 is
2007.
It's before my time.
Oh, I know where it is.
wrong spot.
No, I was looking where Pleasant Street is.
Oh. Do you have any objections, Jane?
No, I don't.
Did you find Pleasant Street?
Yeah.
Okay.
Is this lot built on, or is it bare land?
I looked into it a while back and I don't recall. Was it built on? Is there a house on it or is it a lot?
Atlantic, runs parallel
No,
to
it's
me.
30
one of
Pleasant
those
Street,
in
it's a
there.
house.
It has a house on it, right? Yeah.
Oh, I know this house.
Do you? Where is it?
I mean, that's what
It goes between Cocasset and Mechanic Street,
I would think.
close to downtown.
Look, here's Cocasset.
I
That's where the
remember they've been talking about
that's
this
where the
for a
Y
while.
is.
Yeah,
And
that's
there's
dry, dry, dry.
Mechanic,
Yeah.
Right, so that's high ground up there.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, that was just one of those, let's file the subdivision and have lot releases for each lot
Mm-hmm.
idea that I don't like. So this looks like it was high and dry.
Okay, so do you have it?
Diana drafted it.
I don't have any minutes.
Hmm?
How do you get the minutes?
Somebody want to make a motion to
Oh,
sign,
yes, I know, yeah.
sign a partial certificate of compliance for 157443?
Make a motion to partial certification compliance for filing 157-443.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
Second.
Uh, Discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, none. And then East Belcher,
This is the sports center. Both of the the partials are,
The-
no, both of
are those
the.
the two ice rinks?
Yeah, it's the skating center, and then there was an addition that was put on
The
several
second
years
one,
back.
yeah.
That had a rain garden that he promises is working, but, yeah.
395 actually had a certificate of compliance issued 2013 maybe.
Oh, yeah,
But he
that's the
couldn't
right.
find it, so that one needs to be reissued. And then
Okay.
the 510 is a new one.
Somebody want to make some motions?
Numbers are 157510 and 157395.
Correct.
Move that we issue a certificate of compliance for 10 East Belcher Road, DEP 157-395 and DEP 157510.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
Discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? None? All righty. You have anything else?
No, that's it.
Anything else?
No, let's go.
Okay, do I hear a motion?
Motion to adjourn?
I hear a
No
second?
minutes?
No minutes.
Okay.
Do I hear a second?
So my name isn't on here?
Excuse me?
Second.
My name isn't on here? So, I
All in
mean,
favor?
Hold
pass
on.
it along, or-
Hold on.
Oh,
This, I
Already
guess
said aye.
predated me,
It predates him.
395.
Oh, maybe that's the one I just reprinted it. It had already been signed.
So mine isn't on here too. We gotta get somebody in here to sign.
Why don't you guys just write your names in
Cross out the,
to go along with your fellow commissioners
I
and
can come
sign
in.
them? I
I can come in.
apologize. I've been spending so much time on the darn Vernal Pool and South Street stuff that
Bring that up again.
Give me that
I
one.
hadn't looked at it.
We want to, there's only three of us here.
okay.
You, Judy,
And
and Jim.
Jim,
So
yeah.
Jimmy just said cross out our names and fill them in.
Yeah, just cross out the names
Yeah.
and sign.
Okay, this is.
A lot of
okay,
this is you just
Okay,
sign to go along with what
to
the commissioner
cross.
has voted.
why don't you?
I'll do
Peter?
Valerie.
You do Valerie, let Peter do.
Print and sign.
Do you need somebody else to come up tomorrow?
I think we're crossing
Got
off the
four
names.
people, I think it's fine,
No, we need you, oh, no, need Jim, okay.
because they all voted, they're a quorum, you guys voted too, and the quorum can sign. So life should be good. A lot of them don't even have names under them, you guys are just spoiled. I'm gonna have to stop it.
We have adjourned, kind sir.